What's up everyone, my name is REDRUP, this is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by vocalist Jono Hawkey and drummer Jack Van Vliet of the band Bloom. We discuss the band's brand new second album, The Light We Chase, the meaning behind the album's title, working with Bassal of Ocean Grove, guest features that are on the record, and loads more. Really quickly, before we jump into all of that, if you do enjoy this podcast, then I would really appreciate it if you took a few seconds of your time right now to support it. First off, you can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on anything new that I put out. Second, you can leave a review or a comment. You can give the podcast a follow on social media. If you'd like to get updates via email, then you can join the mailing list. For those of you who want to go one step further, then there's a Patreon, and there's a web store if you did want to pick up some merch. And also, I've just set up a Discord server, and it'd be really great to see you over there in that community. To make things super easy, I've shoved links in the description box of this episode to everything that I've just mentioned, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all of that out of the way, here's my chat with Jono and Jack of Bloom. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Jono and Jack of the band Bloom. How you both doing today, guys?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be.
Yeah. Glad to have you on. I saw you guys at, I think it was your first ever UK show earlier this year in Manchester supporting Silverstein. You guys killed it, but how was your trip overseas to the UK for the first time?
It was amazing, man. It was like, first time, so you don't really know what you're walking into. But obviously to do it under the wing of Silverstein kind of guarantees that the shows are going to be pretty special shows. And yeah, I think it was only 13 shows altogether, so it flew by, between the UK and Europe dates. But it was so much fun, and stoked to be able to come back to Europe and the UK, same in the same year twice.
Yeah, the Manchester show was awesome too. Because the first show is like really hard, especially internationally, because you don't really know what to expect. Like we could have gone into a room and like everyone's coming late, and we're playing to like 25 people, and and I guess that's how, like, you just have no idea because it's so far away from where you're normally playing shows, like in Australia. And in America, it was the same thing on the first show. It's like, oh, we don't know how many people are going to go for the opener, like how many people know us, like what's going to happen. But it was awesome when we played. I think the reception in the Manchester show was really, really good. It was good to see so many people that came out and watched it. Is it a big thing in the scene culture to watch all of the bands in the UK? Or was this just like a special occasion? Because it felt really busy when we were in there. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty packed. It's hard for me to compare for like other places, but I think generally bands, like fans tend to go quite early when they can. I think it obviously helped that Silverstein were doing, it was like their 25-year tour, wasn't it? So I guess it's kind of like a special show. But yeah, it was pretty packed for you guys. And it was a good set as well. Like it would have been worse if there was like loads of people there and things were going wrong for you guys, like tech issues and stuff like that. But
it's true.
Yeah, and it's
people
crazy
moving
as well.
It was good.
It's crazy as well.
Oh,
You couldn't be really further away from home, right? You're literally on the other side of the world. So
Yeah.
It's
what, 26 hours in transit, something
Wow.
ridiculous.
Did you have a jet lag?
Good. Not really. We just talked about this in the other. Yeah.
Me, Jack, and Andrew, we landed at like 6-7 a.m. And I guess the idea to beat jet lag is, you don't go to bed until, nighttime, try and stay awake during we ended up going out that night, and I think we went to bed at about 4 a.m. So we kind of offset the jet lag pretty heavily.
We kind of reversed the jet lag, because normally it would be like you'd go to sleep at 8 p.m. and then wake up at like 3 in the morning, and then the rest of the time you're just waking up super early. But we did the opposite because we stayed out too late the first night, so everything was like delayed. It was like we'd taken it too far the other way.
Yeah. That's one way of doing it, I guess. Is there anything that you did, like what did you do over in the UK, like other than the shows? Did like you do any like sightseeing? Is there anything like in the UK that seemed a bit strange to you?
Well, we got caught in the rain, Jack.
Oh yeah, that was awesome actually.
That
I
was
don't
that
think
was
that was a shared sentiment.
yeah. We were so we had a driver for this tour, and like we didn't really know many people over in the UK, so he was kind of like, oh look, I've got this mate, Grant, and he's from Manchester, and we'll go out for a couple of beers with him, and we ended up going to a couple of bars, had a Guinness, split the G, etc. And I remember he was like, we'll go to this other bar. And we were like, all right, it's about a 5-10 minute walk. And we started walking there, and like the
We
heavens.
also Yeah, this also like the thing at the time was that Grant suggested walking, but I suggested walking to Grant. So it actually came from I was the one that made the
You're the
mistake, but
culprit.
I kept that quiet.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we started moving there, and it bucketed incredibly hard. It was the type of rain where like you can't do anything about it. Like you
It
are
was
just
movie
gonna,
rain.
it was cinematic rain. And I remember we were like running city of Manchester, like the most soaked you can be. I remember we got to this bar, and I had a few drinks at this point. I remember we walked into this bar, and God bless Grant, but this place was not fucking pumping. We were the only people in there, this little underground bar. I remember I took off my shoes and just like held them up to the aircon vent to try and dry them. And got some people that were working there, but you got to do what you got to do. I also remember
Yeah.
that night we went afterwards at like midnight, and we had a couple of people come up to us and be like, you in Bloom? And it was like the craziest, like to be so far from home, and to get sort of spotted out in public like
Not
that
even at the
was
show.
not even
Mm.
at the show, not even in
Yeah.
the show either.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
Um, Also in London when we were flying out of London, so after Europe we came back there. That's when I think everyone got a little bit more of a chance to see the UK because it was the UK London because
Mm.
we had like a full day where we weren't like going to a show and prepping and stuff like that. I went to the Tate Modern. My fiance's favorite artist is Mark Rothko. So
Right.
I really wanted to see the Rothko room in the Tate Modern, and so I went there and saw it, and it was awesome. I think it was like one of the best things I did all tour,
Yeah.
which was it was really good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised it was bucking it down in Manchester because it's known as Rain City. Like it's renowned
Yeah,
for just raining all the time. So you got the full experience, I guess.
yeah. We were we
Yeah.
were really way of starting the tour. It was like, all right, this is where we are now.
Yeah.
I was giddy. I was like giggling when it was like raining because it's just so funny to be caught. Like we were all in like all of our like winter stuff and everyone was like huddled up and it was like pouring and we were all like doing that like power walk, slight run thing. It was funny. It felt like it was like a TV show or something.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Well, there's this like chocolate biscuit bar that we have here, which is similar to what you guys over there called Tim Tams, but our ones are called penguins. I don't know if you tried them when you were here, but next time you're here, try and find a penguin and you can see if it's which is better than a Tim Tam or a penguin.
Oh,
Well,
it's gonna be hard to beat the tan.
yeah.
We don't have like 'cause you have like caramel Tim Tams as well, don't you? But we don't have
Yeah.
caramel penguins. You have like your standard one, dark chocolate, orange, and mint. But
That's weak shit. We got double coats. We got caramel. We got I got salted caramel. We got more. I'm blanking. It's 8 a.m. There's so many.
well, try and seek them out, and then just even if it's a limited amount, like maybe it's better. But I mean,
Yeah.
probably not. I mean,
We'll
you
do
guys
the
have lived on Tim Tams, so
Yeah, we'll get to the UK and I'll have a Greg's BAP and a penguin back in the
British
UK.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
You need that and a Weatherspoon. Did you go to Weatherspoons when you were here?
No,
no.
I what's
It's
Weatherspoon?
it's like a chain, but it's a pub chain. So
Oh,
it's
of
like
course. Yes. Yeah. The name was
or
familiar.
people just call it spoons. They just shorten it to spoons because that's what we do in the UK. We just shorten things. But I guess moving from the UK tour, obviously big news for you guys. Album number two, The Light We Chase, out October 31st via Pure Noise Records. How are you feeling about getting this record out into the world? Album number two.
It's
Super
exciting, man. Like
excited.
it's been quick. We started the record in January and it's out in October. So to kind of go from inception to release in, under a year is a feat for our band, especially with, our previous projects taking much longer to come out. It's been cool. It's been a hectic year for us between sort of touring and recording and all the inner workings of being in a band. And I guess the cool thing about getting something out so quickly and going into a bunch of touring to support it is all these songs feel super fresh to us, and we're just excited to be able to go out and play them.
Yeah, I feel like at the time when we were writing the album, we were all really in Bloomland, so to speak. Like we were all really focused on the band. Like we just come off of our first American tour, which we were just like talking about what we're gonna do for the next album. Then we get in the studio, we're about to go away to Europe, we're about to go to Japan, we're about to do another Australian tour. So it's like all these things are happening at the same time, and like our focus is like really heavily on the band. So we're all just kind of in it. It felt very like natural when we were making it, and everything felt like it was happening really organically and like exactly how it was supposed to. I think we like trusted ourselves a lot more, like we're very instinctual in how we made a lot of the record. And yeah, like Jono said, like the song still sounds super fresh and even new still. Like when I'm listening to the record, I'm like, oh, this part is really cool. Like you just kind of keep picking up all the remembering things from the process that like were put in there and stuff. It's nice. It's very exciting to have it finally come out.
Yeah, I guess it's good that you're not like in a position where you're sitting on this material for so long where like you're just kind of eager to get it out. There's no like huge. So I always kind of think of that period of you kind of finishing the album and signing it off and everything kind of goes to the label or whoever to you actually then releasing it and the rest of the world knows about it. That's like a purgatory period. Like it's kind of a secret but not a secret. You know what I mean?
I think on the last record, it was about a year and a half between us starting the record and it actually coming out. And I think by the time we got to release, it was like, fuck, this stuff is like it's kind of dated now. Like, we didn't have that same like excited energy, like we do for this record. And I think probably subconsciously going into this record there was a bit of a drive to like, let's not do that again. Like we want to release the album, we want it to be out this year, and then obviously to have both a European tour and a US tour coming out like right in the middle of that album rollout is like you couldn't ask for it to be any more, supported.
Yeah. The tours did put a little extra gas in the tank for getting the album out this year as well. Like as soon as we got the office, we're like, all right, it's definitely got to be out this year because like we can't if we go on these tours, like there's like a certain amount of time before you can really like go back and it's like viable and stuff. So if the album comes out after, it'll be this weird gap in between. So it was like we need to get it out. Gas in the tank. Let's like go, get it out.
Yeah, like strike while the iron's hot. Like everyone's
But
kind
yeah,
of got
that's
eyes
it.
on you already. Let's kind of just put more music out and show who you are now, as opposed to this record that you kind of sat on, like you say, for a year and a half, and a lot of time has passed since then. So you want to do something a bit more refreshing for you guys.
Mm.
Yeah. Also on this record, we didn't get the chance to play on maybe another life. I think we played Bound to Your Whispers like very quite early, like a while before the song came out. Like we're playing it like a good 6 months before the song was coming out. And even before that, Laughing Stock, we were playing like years before it was on the album. So it was like the because this album came out and like we didn't have time to add any other stuff to our set list, and we're like, we can't play the new songs because if we start playing the new songs now, they're going to be old by the time we release them in 6 months' time. So
Yeah.
the first time we played all of the album songs were on the last tour that we did, and we did Withered was already out, and we played Out of Reach as well, and that is now out. It is out right now, but at the time it was like a week, 2 weeks from coming out, so it's still very new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Well, can you talk to me about the album title? Because I guess kind of the obvious takeaway, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but obviously chasing the light is kind of like chasing your dream as a band and making this like kind of like your career and what you want to do with your lives. And I guess that kind of is supported by the fact of what you've just said, like you wanting to put this music out quick while the tours are there and all that kind of stuff, like really striving to make this succeed. And obviously, it seems like you guys are doing pretty well with, trying to make this band a full-time thing with everything that's happened so far.
for
Is
sure.
that the meaning behind it, or am I kind of like looking too obvious
The
like into it?
I think it's kind of a bit of an umbrella for a couple of themes on the record. Definitely, there's a component of like the light we chase being the thing that's in front of you, of like whether it's aspirations with the band, but even just like identity and like sense of self and confidence and sort of being able to tackle what life throws at you in whatever shape that may be. Another big component of the light we chase is also looking to the and sort of how that's defined you as a person. Through the record, there is a lot of nods to the place that we grew up, which is a little suburb called Belrose in the northern beaches of Sydney. It's a place where the five of us, we all grew up there together. Um, we all went to local shows together. We have a lot of like really important and like sweet formative years and memories from that time. And I think one of the things going into this record was almost like writing a love letter to our shared childhood that we all experienced together. And I think so much of that album, so many of the songs are that yearning for the simpler times, that bittersweet youthness. The light we chase is not only that thing that's in front of you, but it's also that the light of those warm memories that you have and wanting to go back to before things got complex and messy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of you're in the present and the light we chase is both in front of you and behind you.
It is chasing like an ideal version of of yourself, I guess. Like it's taking you out of the present and putting you somewhere else where you feel like this could be perfect. Like this could be the thing where it sorts everything out. Like it sorts out all of my thing. And the pursuit of that is like um sometimes like really rewarding and sometimes really hard and daunting and if, like you feel like you can never get there, which is why it's the light, like you can't ever get there. Like I can't go touch the sun, you
Yeah.
know. We were talking about this morning, and the first track on the record also has a reference to the Great Gatsby, and the in the Great Gatsby, of course, also there's the green light at the end of the dock, and that's like it's like the metaphor for like the whole book, and I feel like it's the same thing. It's a similar thing in the record where it's the metaphor for the ideal, like it's a metaphor for like becoming fully formed and like becoming like something that you've always wanted, whether that's behind you or in front of you.
Yeah, like the ideal place, like if you're looking forward, it's like where you want this band to be or where you want your life to be. But as you say, kind of looking back, it's like the quote good old days, like the
Mm.
nostalgia of being a carefree kid and not having to worry about, real life shit and grown up shit like bills and all that kind of responsibility that comes with that. So yeah, that takes total sense. Like the light is like the idealistic like
Mm,
position whichever direction that's going in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think there's also another element to the record as well that's like how how it can kind of trap you, like how you can be at the mercy of like your own nostalgia or like your own dreams in a way. Because it's like if you're just chasing who you are in the past, like it's hard for you to grow. And if you're just chasing this like idealized version of yourself, then you have like no time to be really in the moment. Like you have no time to really be yourself. So it's like these things are also being used as like a crutch in order to like lift up yourself in the present in a way where it's like, oh, like then like I can remember this. If I'm here, like it's good. And if I'm thinking about this, like it's fine because I'm in pursuit of something or like I was something, but like it's like not considering like anything that's like momentary and present. And I think that that's a like an interesting facet to the album that is kind of fleshed out a lot on it, where it's like is the pursuit worth it? Like should I be here now? Like is the past really that perfect? Those kind of things.
Yeah. Or
Mm.
even just like kind of trying to not never being fully content with where you are and always striving for better. It's like not to say like you'd be like ungrateful for where you are, but it's just kind of like always that pursuit of more and more and more. Like you get to the top of the mountain and then you look up and there's another mountain that you want to climb to the top of.
Yeah, the goalposts are always kind of moving as you progress forward. It's funny, like you look back on our band and the trajectory that we've had, and when we started this band, like 19 years old, our biggest goals were things that we've done And it's funny that it's like, it's not like we did those things and it was like, all right, band's done, we finished it, we completed being in a band. Obviously, as you grow, and I think it's true for not just even, in a band, but like in a wider sense of like anything that you're chasing after, it always seems to evolve, and it's very hard to be content with where you are. And I think, it's true for all of us of obviously the band, but I think it's just a wider, facet of life of like we are constantly evolving our wants and needs, and where our contentment with what we have is always moving ahead of us.
Yeah, it's definitely something that can impact, well, everyone, I would imagine it impacts everyone, and it just impacts so many different facets of life, whether you're in a band or whether you've got a business, whether you're in education, whether you have a family or whatever it may be. Like, there's
Mm.
just so many ways that that could be, interpreted and applicable to everyone.
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing behind with it as well when we were writing that song. That was like a big track when we were writing it because we all came together and were discussing like this stuff, like being in a band and like doing all of these things is like really difficult sometimes and like can take a lot of like emotional toll on like everyone that's there. Like it like affects like all of our relationships and it affects like everything, like our whole lives. And it was like making that song, it's like pulling like back the curtain on like the band that's outside of this like we're performers and we're putting out albums, we're putting out like all of these things that are to be like consumed and listened to and experienced and stuff like that. And like pulling that behind that and like us as like making this thing is affecting us in like all of these different ways that you just like kind of wouldn't really understand. And the part like going into that was like this isn't like as much as we're talking about it specifically because we're like in this band and we're in this situation and all of us are feeling this way about it. It's like not like exclusive to us or like exclusive to people in a band. Like as you're saying, like like no matter what facet of your life, and like a lot of people, everyone, I probably at some point has like gone after something and been like, this isn't everything that I expected. This hasn't solved all of my problems. Like this isn't like the be all and end all of like my entire life. Like I get here and it's like it's awesome, but it's different. Like it's not what I expected. And I think that like the universal kind of aspect of the songs why I think it it's been like resonating so well after it's come out.
I think as well, there's that part of like, I've committed X amount of time to this thing. What would my life look like, or what if I didn't? Like, what would I have left if all of that was to go away? Like, if I've committed 8 years to being in a band, and if I stop being in a band, what do I have left? What do I have to show to that? Or if I hadn't chosen to be in a band, would I have excelled in this career path? And I think there's just that inner self-doubt of not really having all the answers, and the thoughts that sort of come in and protrude of like, am I making the right decision? Am I doing the thing that's going to be the best for me? Am I the best version of myself? Just all those sort of inner dialogue questions that come with any commitment to anything of substance.
Yeah, that's
Very
the
late 20s kind of thought.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the joy of overthinking, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's just part of being an adult, unfortunately. But yeah, I think you tackle it very well on the record. And as we mentioned earlier, you signed with Pure Noise as your first like effort through that label. How did that signing come about?
Yeah, we signed to Pure Noise for the last record as well, but it was
Okay,
a kind of a we were with Grayscale Records for
that's
Australia,
right.
New
Yeah,
Zealand, Japan, and Pure Noise for the rest of the world. And pretty much we got to this album, and our contract was up with Grayscale, and we had a really good experience with Pure Noise so far, and we went, cool, well, it makes sense with the amount of international touring we're doing. Like we're really wanting to grow our US and UK and Europe market. Um, so for us, it kind of was a bit of a no-brainer. And without Pure Noise, we wouldn't have Pat Miranda from Movements featuring on the record. So
yeah,
they've definitely proved their weight in gold. So yeah, very cool to. I mean, it's also just been a dream label for us as well. I remember, speaking back to those, 19-year-olds that start a band. I remember we had a list of goals. One of them was to play a show internationally. One of them was to play Unify Festival, which was an Australian festival. It's long gone. And the other one was to sign to Pure Noise Records. We kind of spoke it into the universe. So for us, sentimentally, doing an album through Pure Noise is like that 19-year-old version of us is cheering.
Yeah, it was crazy. There was like top of the whiteboard kind of stuff where it's like
Was
if
it?
we could do that, that would be the best. I remember when Jake came to Australia and I heard his because I didn't know what his name was. It was just Pure Noise Records. And
Right.
someone was saying that like Jake Brown or Pure Noise Records was coming around and I heard his name and I went, I think we're gonna sign to them. Like just in my head. Like because I was like it was like the whiteboard and like now I know his name and he's like coming to Australia and I'm like, oh, it could happen, you know? And it was like this like real like maybe it's gonna happen. It was very exciting at the time. Like and when he came back, like he reached out to us, I was like, this is crazy. Like this has been in movement since the whiteboard in 2017, you know?
It sounds like you got some magic powers, Jack, because you suggested that you walk through the UK and it starts raining. You've manifested signing to Pure Noise, and you did. What's next?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It has to come on to me like in a rush, you know? Like I can't just take it out of the hat.
Okay.
Heaps of
Just didn't know
Yeah,
how it works.
heaps of success. Wembley Arena, um,
sold it.
sold out. Yeah. Tour with Metallica.
Perfect.
That's what we're going with now.
So in about a year's time, we'll see you not just touring Metallica, but Metallica opening for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You gotta, shoot for the stars, land on the moon type stuff.
Exactly. If you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah, that's it.
So, talk to me about like writing and recording this album because you mentioned earlier that this was much quicker process than the previous album. And as far as I'm aware, I think you did a bunch of the recording towards the start of the year. Then you went out and did quite a few different bits in different parts of the world, like including some headline shows in Japan. And then it was when you came back from that handful of tours is when you kind of did some finishing touches and finished it off. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much nail on the head. Like we did a US tour in October, November last year, and that's kind of where the idea for album two started. And obviously, we were in an RV together and bouncing ideas, and I think that's kind of where we like refined the concept and kind of worked out a lot of the themes that we wanted to talk about. Got home in December, kind of took the weeks off to be with Christmas, families, all that sort of stuff. January 3rd, we had 2 weeks in the studio booked, and the intent with those dates was like, let's just go in and write and see,
Get a start.
all right, yeah, exactly. We ended up doing significant, like we pretty much wrote the entire album in that 2 week period, and we walked away from those dates being like, cool, like we have an album. Straight up, like literally the day after we wrapped those dates, we were on tour with Trophy Eyes in Australia. We a couple weeks of a little bit of a regional run. Finished that off. 2 weeks later, we're on a plane to the UK. We're in the UK and Europe for about a month-ish. We're in Japan doing some headline shows. Got back from them and it was like, all right, hit the ground running, finish off the record. Did that, did a Chelsea Grin Currents Australian tour, finishing touches on the record all while that's happening. And then it was do the music videos, work out the visual identity, all the other components were happening alongside all these touring ventures. And I think all of that is to kind of say like, by completely absorbing ourselves in Bloom for that 6 month period, it really meant that we were able to work really confidently and we backed ourselves probably harder than we had on previous records. We were, experimenting with more, different sounds and trusting our gut in a lot of ways. So yeah, I think, in hindsight, it kind of blurs everything into just this one hectic period.
Yeah.
But I think it meant the end product was probably our strongest work to date because we were just so absorbed into everything Bloom.
And it's really funny because like this record, I think, has taken us the least amount of time of maybe every release that we've done, like including the first single that we ever
Right.
released. Like
Okay.
even that was like a long period where we were like before we record, like we'd had it written and it took ages to record it, and like the first couple of EPs like still took a long time to get through. But I think like the attention to this record, like if you were to not take it as like physical time
Yeah.
between when we start the album and when we finish the album, but like mental attention to the album, I think this one had the most, even if it was in the shortest amount of time, just because it was like so focused and like honed in over like so many different experiences, like that were over like one calendar year. It just felt like the attention was on it, like the spotlight was on it like all the time. Whereas like
It
for
was a
the other ones, it's like we kind of dipped in and out a little bit.
densely packed few months.
Yes. Yeah, densely packed, short, but densely packed.
Sounds like the grind never stops. Like, have you really had any downtime in 2025 so far?
We have
This
the
is the
last couple of months, I would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
We well, it's a different type of downtime. Like we're at home, but
Yeah.
we're still on rollout. So instead of long nights in the studio or drives to the venue, it's scheduling social media posts. So it's a different test. We've kind of used this period to like rejuvenate in a sense, because we leave in 4 days and we're on tour for nearly 3 months. We get home on Christmas Eve sort of thing. So this is the calm before the storm, I suppose.
And enjoy the somewhat breather while you still can, really.
Yeah.
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 I'm glad that it's warm enough now that I can go to the beach and I don't miss out on the beginning of summer. That's
Yeah.
nice. The R&R was just for a long enough period of time.
Yeah. Well, it's not warm over here, so when you get over here, make sure you wrap up a bit.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that. Whereas like I'm not really used to it being super, super cold. It never gets cold in Australia, really. Like it gets to like 4 maybe is like the coldest.
Hmm.
I don't know. I might get colder in Melbourne for Jono, but like I don't know how I'm gonna handle it when I get over.
I think
I'm gonna be packing stuff, pack a hoodie, be like, that's enough. It's gonna be cold. I can wear a hoodie.
we're in winter. So I think we're gonna hit like the negatives pretty quickly. I've gotten thermals. I've got my thermal layers prepped and ready. So fuck, it's gonna be a different world. We don't see snow all that much here in Australia, so
Right.
if ever really. So I think it's gonna be a very different experience for us, which is cool and daunting all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time we're going to Canada and it's in almost winter. So it'll be the best time to experience it. It'll be like the Canada in my head. Will be the Canada
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's like Alaska Simpsons movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you might come across an actual real life moose as well. So
Oh, I can't wait.
Fuck.
I've heard they're like menacingly big, like scary big. I want to say I'm very excited.
I mean, I've not seen one in real life, but I've seen videos where they're like bigger than like a van. So
Mm.
yeah,
We had an
Shit.
experience with a kangaroo in a van once
Yeah,
when you were driving,
we've
Jono.
yeah, we like Australia is renowned for like you'll be driving down a country road and then kangaroos will just like jump out in front of the car. And I remember I was
right.
driving. They're fucked. It's like, and they will like they're big animals, so they will
Mm.
destroy right off your car if you
Yeah,
hit a
this was
kangaroo.
like a big red kangaroo, like a good 7 feet tall.
Yeah. I remember we're driving along this country road in like regional Victoria, and there was a kangaroo that you could just kind of see on the side of the road, and you're like, I think this cunt's gonna jump. Um, and I remember I just hit the brakes as hard as I could because he started beelining it for the road, and it was like at the same time another car was coming past, and they hit the kangaroo, and it was like this moment of frenzy. So at least I know my reaction time in case we have any wildlife that's coming for well, at least while I'm driving, I have confidence that I'll be able to navigate that situation.
Yeah, the kangaroo was fine too. It like hit its like tail, I think, on the car, and then just like
Right.
jumped off. And then the other car, its like bumper was off, and the car did not come away from it unscathed. But the kangaroo was fine.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're very big and they're everywhere. Like when we used to drive all the time for regional shows. I guess we haven't toured Australia that much, so we haven't done it super recently. But
mm.
the you see them everywhere, like on Australian country roads, Australian highways. There's so much space between cities in Australia that like at least 6 hours is just like flat grass kangaroos.
Yeah, we don't really get like any animals that will very, sporadically go into the roads here in the UK, but we kind of have I think people have the misconception that in Australia, like, there's so many different animals that can kill you and they can get everywhere. And then
We've
I
got
saw this one. Go on, sorry.
so there is a few. There's a few different
Yeah,
animals that will kill.
Drop bears are the worst.
Yeah.
drop bears.
Mm.
What are they?
They're like kind of like a feral koala,
Right.
I would say is like the best way to describe them. And they kind of just like jump down from the trees and like kind of claw at you. And they're really into like bright colors. So like if you're like it's like a lot of tourists and stuff will get drop dead because it's like of like backpacks and stuff like that.
Great. Okay. That sounds fun. I heard some. I don't think they're real, but I heard some about something called hoop snakes, but I don't think they're real.
Hoop snakes. We've got
I've never heard of a
snakes.
hoop snake.
I'm not familiar with hoop snakes. I'm sure
So,
I'm sure there's a snake like that.
I mean, the idea sounds ridiculous, so this is why I don't think it's true. But basically, the story is that they tend to hide on top of hills and then watch for animals on the hills, and then they'll bite their tail and roll down the hill
Oh
and
my
use
God.
the momentum to fly in the air and then bite the prey. But I don't
I
think
hope
that's
it's
real.
real. I hope it
It's real,
is.
but
I would like to see it.
yeah,
Just like a tire
Uh,
going down the hill, but I don't think that's real.
maybe. Oh, look, we're city kids. We only see the occasional snake.
I'm gonna look up
yeah.
further after this. I'm gonna research and find out, and
The
I'll
hoop
fill you
snake.
guys in. Yeah. Get back to the album. So you went to Sam Bassal for producing this one. What was it like working with him? What did he kind of bring to the table in terms of the record?
It was cool because it was the first time we've worked with another producer since 2019.
Right.
Everything that we've done, Cold, In Passing, Maybe Another Life, was all with the same guy, and we're obviously still super stoked with all those records, but we kind of fell for this one. It was time to change it up and try something a bit different. And I think the thing that was the most surprising was just how different the experience of recording, writing, it can change with a different producer. We spent a lot more time focused on like Atmos and sonic. We experimented more than I think we had in the past with layers and all of the stuff that goes behind the main instrumentation of a song. And I think it was cool because no idea was a bad idea at that stage, and we were able to kind of just simmer in the source of like songwriting for a bit longer. I think songs like Tongue Tied, having an acoustic song on a record that's predominantly a heavy chord like that didn't feel like something that we would ever really do. But I think because of the environment that we were in, where it was super collaborative and anything goes really, it was cool. And there's a lot of little Easter eggs we've dropped throughout the album, like in the song Act Two, there's a fucking samurai blade like shing sample in there. Kind of got to fuck around a little bit. And obviously Sam is a wildly talented man. So it was cool to just have another creative in the space, and I think he really brought out the best in us.
He also uh his like aesthetic is quite different to our last producer. Like he's really into like the 90s and new metal and
Yeah.
like more it's just like a different musical influence. So like he definitely like more swag is on this record. Like there's more like bounciness. Like there's more like almost like laid backness that are in a lot of the sections that come through because of like his sensibilities as a like even just like a enjoyer of music, like the way that he sees music and the way that he likes music has like put a new kind of flavor on a lot of the Bloom tracks that might have been different if it wasn't for him. But I loved working with Sam. I thought that like a lot of all the things that he brought to the table were really interesting and like also like different for us because like we're only used to working with each other. Like it's not like we know all of the ideas that everyone's going to say, but like we have a
Yeah.
certain like framework that feels very familiar. But then when him coming into it really brought like another layer that like there's like another type of idea that was coming into the recording process that we hadn't really had before, which I think made everything a little more dynamic.
Yeah. It makes sense to mention in the kind of swag and the bounce, considering he's an Ocean Grove, and that's kind of like what they kind of bring
Yeah.
to the table as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, you can kind of expect that from him. And there's people kind of refer to the second album as like the difficult second album. Did you find any difficulty in terms of maybe not like writing and recording, because it sounded like you kind of, plowed through things pretty quickly and pretty effectively. But I guess, I don't know, like mentally, was there any worry about like, we need to top the debut album because of what it's kind of done for us and achieved for us and the things it's kind of pulled in for us as a band?
I think
I
we
actually
were
think,
kind of yeah, I think
yeah,
we're about to say the same thing. I think we were like more confident coming into this one rather than
Right.
feeling more daunted by it. Like it felt like we could trust ourselves a little bit more, and like we had kind of the backing of the first album to be like, okay, like this is like legitimate. We're all doing this thing, and it's like we all trust each other that it's gonna be good. So like with that kind of frame of mind, it just made it easier for things to like move forward and to explore like a lot of different ideas. And it also meant that we could, like Jonah was saying before, like experimenting seemed really easy because like we knew that the bass line was super solid. So like it felt, yeah, it felt very I can't think of the word for it. It felt all easy. Like it felt easier than the first record to make.
I think as well, like I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I think that we were so focused on what we were making that the pressure of like your sophomore album, it's gotta. I don't think anyone was really considering that until maybe the record was done and we're like getting into the rollout. It's like, oh fuck, I hope this performs, better than the last one. I hope we, keep upping the ante. But I think at the time there wasn't really much consideration of like, oh, this has to be better. I think we kind of just had the confidence in ourselves knowing like, hey, we can do this. Like we did it on the last record and people seem to like that. And we believe these songs are even better than the last record. So there's nothing to worry about. Obviously as we get to the pointier end and songs are coming out and, people on the internet are saying positive things, negative things, and a mixed bag of things. It's maybe that scary thought of like, fuck, I hope this doesn't bomb is a bit louder. But I think at the time of writing and recording and kind of all the way up to starting the rollout, there never really was a consideration towards like it's gotta be even better. I think we just
Yeah.
kind of backed up.
Yeah, well, like let's write another album that wasn't like let's write an album that has to fulfill all of these things. We're like, let's make another album, you know. It
Yeah.
was it was it felt I think a lot of the process the thing I was searching for before, it felt like simple and like natural. I think a lot of the process with this. I think because we were in the Bloom headspace for so long that it felt very organic.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned wanting to kind of experiment and expand on the sound. Were there specific things before you went into the studio that you definitely wanted to kind of like try and push in the songs? And were there any things that you kind of did experiment with but just didn't quite land the way that you thought that they would?
Nothing that was like overly present in the songs. I think one of the things that we had noticed that a lot of our like friends and I guess colleagues, who call them, had been doing from a production standpoint is all of the stuff that sits behind the instruments, the kind of light use of synths and like how do you really make something sound larger than life. And I don't think we'd really approached that on previous records. And I think for this one, what we kind of went in with the intention of like, let's like spend a good chunk of time really
Like
refining
beefing it
guitar,
up.
beefing it up exactly. Um, I can't really. I think a lot of the stuff. There were swings that we took in the studio that kind of felt like unnatural for us at the time. Like the ending of "Forget Me Not" is a drum part that is kind of just like a clusterfuck of different symbols, like kind of this experimental ending that I don't think we would have done, if we were left just the five of us to make this album. But I think that just came from like, anything goes in the studio and we can kind of throw. I can't really think of an example of something that we tried that we ended up scrapping. One of my favorite little anecdotes or Easter eggs from the album is at while we were recording, I stumbled across a YouTube video of Justin Bieber "My World" slowed like 10,000%. It's this piece of software a song into and it stretches it out and it creates like this ethereal, like beautiful sounding, like drony soundscape. And I remember there's like the ending of the album. it kind of, the light gets sucked out of it and it goes to this like drone sort of sound. And it just so happened that, we stumbled across this piece of software from a YouTube video of a Justin Bieber song, and, we're playing around with that and it sounded so sick. And it was like, this is cool. Like, let's use this on the record. And I think it was just, right time, right place, and the ability to throw around different ideas and create something new.
I think that drum part that you referenced also almost got thrown out. Like that was almost not on the album.
Right.
So that was
Yeah.
like almost one that didn't go through, like an experimentation that didn't go through. But at the end, it still made it, which I was very happy with. I really liked
Yeah.
it. But I think that was the only one that was even really that contentious. Like even the samurai sword shing sound effect was like we put in as like kind of joke, and then it was in the mix, and we're like, let's just leave it in,
Yeah.
you know? So it was like all of these things that were like most of the stuff that was suggested that was like a little bit left field, I think was pretty much like always put in.
Yeah,
I can't think of
definitely
one
not.
that was left behind.
I think it was a thing of like maybe not like the first idea that you try is what makes it to the record, but it
Yeah.
acts as like a point of like, no, actually there is something here, and let's spend a bit of time like actually refining that idea and seeing how we can make it work. And I think it it paid off because there's these little creative flourishes that kind of stemmed like a samurai sword shing starting off kind of as a joke to something that it's like, oh, actually no, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I think also going into the album, like not that like I was necessarily contributing to this the whole time in the studio or anything, but I really like shoegaze and dream pop from the 90s. And I think mainly because of Sam's like sensibilities as a producer, like a lot of that kind of worked its way into the record a lot, which I think is awesome because I really like that kind of music. But like through Keep You, like there's this like almost like breath of dream poppiness in it, like the with the amount of like layering on the vocals and like the tone of the guitars, and even the little like back layer of cleans in with it on that last chorus, like when it's like and it's like going over the back, that's like a very dream poppy section and like idea
Yeah.
as well for me. So like it was an influence that I really liked that I'm happy to hear on the record. I don't think I really did that much of like putting it in the record, but that's just like one thing that I think has like worked out really well.
Yeah. And from what you're telling me, there's a secret Justin Bieber feature on the album. Is that what you're saying?
No, we used the same piece of software. We couldn't get
Right.
the license, fortunately,
It
but
was the
we
idea of
we
Justin Bieber.
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Got you.
we've got it in an idea.
Got you. Got you. But he did in a way influence the album.
We wouldn't be the band we are without Biebs.
I knew it. I knew it. Well, while we're just on the kind of subject of features, obviously you got like a few on this album. You got Pat from Movements that we mentioned earlier. You got Michaela from Yours Truly, and we got Jack from the now defunct Void of Vision, R.I.P. How did they all get involved? They're all different sounding vocalists from different sounding projects. How did they get into the album?
Yeah, the we kind of went into this record being like we want a guest feature on this record. Like we didn't have them on the last, and we haven't really done them, and we thought it'll be cool to like something new for us, in the spirit of experimenting and evolving and improving. The Pat from Movements one is probably one of the coolest. Sort of how that came to be. The working title for the song that he sings on Keep You was called Daylily, and it's kind of that like we manifested early, and it wasn't like
Yeah,
we
Ollie was like, Pat would sound awesome on this song from day one.
yeah. And we don't know Pat. We've never toured with Movements. We don't follow each other on Instagram or anything like that. And I remember we had a meeting with Pure Noise when we were talking through. We kind of sent them over the original like scratch demos for the songs as we were working on it, and we were talking about guest spots with them, and said we'd love to get like Pat from Movements on this song, and one of the dudes from Pure Noise was like, cool, I'll text him, and we had a response within a day, and I ended up with Pat's number and we're texting back and forth. And he's like, yeah, this song's amazing. Like, I love your band. Like, this is an idea that I have for this section. And it became super collaborative. And it just, like, he absolutely smashed his part. And it's cool because it was like, that's who we wanted and that's who we got. As for Jack and Michaela, like, they're just our friends. They're like really, like, we've toured with Void Division a bunch. I have a feature on the Yours Truly record. um, there's just we've grown up together in a sense. And as those songs were as we were writing those songs and as we were kind of fleshing them out, Tongue Tied, for example, it was like, man, this song is sad. Imagine if we made it even sadder and put like the opposite perspective into it, like the other party that's involved in this song. Like, what if there was a verse from their side? And I was like, well, Michaela's, like, let me just text Michaela, get Michaela on FaceTime and flesh that out. And it just happened super naturally. And Jack, obviously, like, I grew up on Void of Vision. Like, that's my shit right there. And he's a close friend of ours. And, you've got a big breakdown at the end of a song and you're like, fuck, it'd be sick if we got someone else on this. And cool, I'll just text Jack and he'd come around to the studio and we'd laugh and we'd throw around different ideas. And it was cool. Like, it was really fun to collaborate with people that not only, people like Pat that I've looked up to for a long time, and then also collaborate with close friends and be able to just kind of anything goes, throw ideas around.
I think it's also interesting with the features that we got from this record, because like especially with Pat, it's like Pat is like kind of like our mental benchmark for like that emo, like alt rock sound that we're all like really inspired by. So like getting him is like getting the guy that we all look up to, like the influence that like is super strong. And like the same thing like with Jack talking in the studio with Sam the whole time. He was kind of like the benchmark for screaming vocals. Like Sam would always bring up that like Jack Bergen would get this in one take to Jono just to like rile him up a little bit. And it's just like it's funny to have like the like those kind of people like to be on the album. It's like the benchmarks are now on the record. Like it's like we're trying to like raise ourselves to the standard that we really appreciate as like listeners and people that enjoy music, you know.
Yeah, at no point were we like settling. It was like, oh, we couldn't get this person, so we got this person instead. It was like we wanted this person and we got this person, which was awesome.
Yeah, and always gives like features always give like a new kind of flavor and touch to a song. Like you say, like Michaela being on that song helps give the song more context because it's like say it's the other party speaking.
Yeah.
It's always cool.
Yeah. And like yours truly have always been around with us. Like we played a house show with them probably like 7 years ago in Western Sydney for like 25 people probably. I don't know how many people were there, but like it was we've been playing with them for a long time. So it was good to have that dual collaboration with Jono featuring on their record and them featuring on us.
Look where you both are now, not playing to just 25 people, touring the world.
Yeah. Yeah, but the 25 people is a special moment there. The 25 people house show, it's still awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, if
Definitely.
you can't play to 2,000 people. You
You
gotta
gotta play the 25. Yeah,
Got to earn your stripes, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. So we're talking about, you got a few upcoming tours. You've got a tour in the UK and Europe coming up with Thornhill, and then you've got a US tour with Silverstein, which is basically finishing up your year up until Christmas. How are you feeling about those?
Excited, nervous. We've put a lot of like, sort of like we were saying before, like this has been like the rest period. I think this big chunk of touring, I think it's 45 shows, 2.5 months. We've kind of put as like this, like, oh, it's coming up, but it's not here yet. And now we're here. Like now we're a few days away. I need to pack my bag today, sort of thing. I think it's going to be two really interesting tours because for the Thornhill tour, Thornhill, Ocean Grove, Bloom, we've all toured with each other a bunch. We did the record with Sammy, so like there's such a close knit. Our first proper tour was with Thornhill, like right after COVID. We're all going to be sharing a bus. It's going to be a very like
Gonna be a autumn camp. Fall camp.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna it's like a school camp energy for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that. It's also like when we were in Europe last time, Europe UK last time, we only did 12, 13 shows. And this time it's 20. So we're getting to see more places in Europe. There's a bunch of places we're going back to, a bunch of places we're going to the first time, which is awesome. And then going to America, we are doing venues in America with Silverstein, similar to when we did them in Europe, that are like much bigger capacity venues than I guess we ever anticipated we'd end up in. I know we're playing this show on the 20th of December in New York at the Brooklyn Palladium, and like looking at photos of that venue, it is incredible. Like it's beautiful, and it's just so sick that we're able to, you know, pack our bags, hit the road for 3 months, and see so much of the world, and step into these beautiful looking venues. And yeah, I'm excited. I think I'll get to the end of the Thornhill tour and be like, oh, 20 shows, that's a
Mm.
tour ready to, and then have to do it all over and drive.
Another one.
Yeah, and run it back. But yeah,
Mm.
excited, but a bit.
Yeah. New York in Christmas is going to be surreal, I think. It's so ingrained in my head from all of the movies that I want to see if it's like it
Like
is.
Home Alone.
There's
Yeah.
like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. We leave just before Christmas, but it'll be Christmas time. Like I want to hear some carols in the streets. I want to see the big
Yeah,
tree in the building. I can't remember what building, one of them. Big tree, snow on the streets. You know, I
I
think
need to
it'll
make
be good.
a snow angel, and I need to catch a snowflake on my tongue. I
Yeah,
want it there.
yeah, perfect. We're also in we're going to be in Paris when the album comes out. And Paris is my favorite city in the world, and the album's coming out. It's going to be awesome. Sorry to anyone from the UK listening that I said that Paris is my favorite city in the world.
What a place to be when the
I
album
don't mean
drops.
to. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's very
and
exciting.
it's an we're like popping champagne under the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, when in Rome or when in Paris, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's really nice also that Sam is there with us when the album comes out while we're on tour as well. It feels very like it was supposed to be, like it was meant to be.
To the
Definitely.
bow on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because like everyone who was involved in making it is there, then, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We need to fly Pat over. Pat,
Yep,
Michaela, and
perfect.
Jack
yeah.
for a day.
Meet us at the Eiffel Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we can. I don't know if it's in the budget for 3 flights, but maybe a FaceTime will work.
Yeah. Compromise.
Yeah.
So, what else have you guys got planned for the rest of? Well, I guess that's 2025, right? But what's in the pipeline for 2026 so far that you can talk about?
Not heaps we can talk about. We've got a big Australian headline that we are finally doing. Like we've done sort of smaller venues, smaller Australian tours, but next year we're doing a proper, no holds bar. This is our big dick swing tour, which will be cool. And we've got a bunch of other stuff that's kind of simmering in the background. I think there's also going to be a component where we're probably going to take a little bit of time just to rest, recover, reflect on sort of the year that was. This is our biggest year that we've ever had as a band. I think we've 82, 83 shows. So I think there'll be a bit of, making sure that we stop and smell the roses. But the machine keeps moving, and we'll find many ways to fill out our year and get back overseas as soon as we can.
Exciting times. Yeah. Well, Jack, Jono, thank you so much for coming on, having a chat with me. Before I let you go, and Jack can go to the beach, and Jono, you can go back to your band admin. Any final words? Anything you want to say or plug? Floor's yours.
Well, if this is coming out a week before the album, pre-order the album, stream the songs, buy a ticket to come and see us. Don't let me down. Thank you.
Yeah, I got nothing to plug. The Lie We Chase out in a week. It's awesome. That's it.
And if you listen to this after the album comes out, just stream the album and order it off all the web stores where any way you can buy it. Yeah, guys, again, thank you so much. Hopefully I'll catch you guys next time you're in my neck of the woods. I'll get you some penguins and you can try out and see if it's better than Tim Tams or not.
Beautiful.
It sounds
Awesome.
good.
Hey guys, I'll let you go. And yeah, hopefully see you soon.
Thanks so much for
Lovely
having
to
us.
chat.
So,
Thank
dudes,
you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media. And maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.